Hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
Welcome to Enjoy the Chaos.
I always want to say we're back.
I want to say it so bad.
I want to say it every time.
You can.
I know.
You can.
You know, like
It's
you
our
said,
show.
it is our show. We can do what we want to do.
Say whatever you want. Do what you want to say.
That's right. Oh, Lord. Yep. So we're back, guys.
We are.
Gals.
We are. Still ringing in the new year. Still very early in the 2023.
Gosh,
I can't believe it's 2023.
And I have such a hard time writing it. Like anytime it changes,
Mhm.
I'm like 2022,
Yes.
2022. That's not accurate.
You have to make a conscious decision.
2023.
Yes.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
Yeah.
So today we have a gin cocktail in honor of April. Because April
I like
likes
some
gin.
gin. I
April
like a
likes
little
gin.
gin.
So I
Little
finally
Hendrix,
broke down and got a gin. It's another one of the On the Rocks. If you'll remember early in the show, we had their pineapple jalapeno margarita,
Yeah.
which I have had several times since. It has become one of my favorites. They make several flavors, as we mentioned. So today we're trying the Aviation,
Yes.
which says that it's a throwback to the era when airplanes were brand new. This classic gin cocktail, the Aviation, is crafted with, I'm going to say this wrong, Larios London dry gin and flavors of cherry, lemon, and violet. So classy.
Cherry, lemon, and violet.
Yes. So,
And I love the color.
yes, it is very
It's
pretty.
just a hint of violet.
Yes, it is very pretty.
It matches B shirt.
So we're going to sip on our gin and juice.
Lay
I
back.
couldn't. No, I can't not. That's what I think about. Like, I
Me
don't,
too.
anytime I think about gin, I just think about Snoop Dogg, which
Me
is
too.
the opposite of like your super classy, whatever. Although
Definitely
he is
not
super classy
classy.
now.
Hey.
Did you know that he does, this is total pivot, sidebar, squirrel moment. He does like rap songs for kids now,
No.
like
I did not
about
know this.
being
No.
body positive and
Aw,
having good feelings and feeling good about yourself and self-esteem.
that is great.
I don't know how I stumbled upon it the other day, but it was really good.
That is amazing.
So,
Who would
yeah,
have
who
thought
would've
back
thought?
in the day?
Right?
He would be rapping to kids.
Right.
And we would allow it.
That's right. I thought, only Trick loved the kids, but Snoop does too. So
I love it.
oh, y'all didn't know we were so
Sarah.
hard at Enjoy the Chaos, did you?
Yeah, real hard. We real hard. That's right.
We're going to talk about burnout today
Let's talk about burnout today.
because I
Let's do it.
feel like a lot of people get super overwhelmed in the holidays, and then you go straight into the new year, and there's all this pressure to start your new year off with a
Yeah.
bang and be
Yeah.
this newer, bigger, better version of yourself. I mean, last week we talked about resolutions.
Yep,
I mean, you didn't because you don't have any, but
that's right.
I
have thought about that, but I love how we say goals, though.
yes,
I
goals.
do love that better.
Goals.
That makes me feel better.
And so I looked up like what the true definition of burnout is, because you always hear
Yeah.
people talk about, oh, I'm burned out, but are you
that's
burned
right.
out? Or are you stressed out? And there is a difference.
Yes. That's right.
And so burnout, according to the Google,
Yes. Tell us about the
is a
Google.
form of exhaustion caused by the constant feeling of being swamped.
Yes.
So you just are constantly feeling like you have too much to do.
Yep.
Which is different than I think stress, because I think stress can be about anything.
Yeah.
You can stress in your relationship, stress in your friendship, stress in,
Yeah.
you can have stress at work and not be burned out.
Yes.
So I
agree.
think like the burnout
Yeah.
is probably like the last step of stressed out.
And then what do you do after that?
And then what do you do after that?
What do you do after that?
Right.
It's hard. So I did, when we decide on topics, I then start looking at, I try to start looking at people who have talked about the topic in the past,
Right.
and like what they say about it.
Right.
And so I found a lot of Canadians on Instagram, which was interesting, that posted about burnout.
Oh.
And one was the healthy nurse. And again, she is a Canadian nurse. I think she also has a background in psychology.
Okay.
And so I did start following her, but she had some really good tips on what that looks like for you. Like you talked about the stress, and you let your stress get so bad,
Mhm.
that then you carry that to work or your place of employment. And then it's almost like the burnout can get worse because you have allowed that stress to get so far that you've not taken care of it. And when I say you, burnout can come in all different forms.
Right.
But I do feel like self-care can help with that. And she talks about making sure self-care is a top priority.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to try to start a routine of having self-care and not doing it well, because not everything is for you. Like
Right.
you may try one thing that you think will work. Like you talked about meditation.
Right.
For some, you may start that and it's not working out well. It's okay to be like, okay, well, this isn't working for me. Let me move to something else.
Which I've done 0 times.
Oh no,
in
Sarah,
20.
I wanted to hear
I forgot.
about that.
No, I forgot that was on my list. And I remembered it the other day and I was like, oh, do. But what I have been doing, and I have really enjoyed this, is I figured out finally, after however many years I've owned this coffee pot, how to program it. So, you put the coffee in the water and then the night before. So I have the program set so that my coffee is ready when I get out of the bed. I've been setting my alarm just
you smell it
20
too?
minutes earlier.
I love
yes.
that.
And that's been the best part.
Good
and
for you.
I've been getting up and reading.
Good. I was going to ask you about your reading.
Yes, because
Your
there's
11 pages.
there's a few of us in my little friend group. We're doing a challenge called 75 Soft. It's a version of 75 Hard, which is just not realistic. I mean, hoorah to you, those of you
were
that do
telling me
it.
about and I want you to talk about that. But when you were telling me, I was like, holy moly!
Because I also have a friend group that's doing 75 Hard. And so 75 Hard is 2 45-minute workouts a day.
Yeah.
One of them has to be outside, regardless of the conditions, heat, rain, snow, cold, whatever it is. One of them has to be outside. No sugar, no alcohol. So very strict diet.
Yeah.
You have to read 10 pages of nonfiction a day and drink a gallon of water.
Easy peasy, right?
So, yeah.
So easy.
Now, 75 Soft is a little softer for those of us that, need to introduce ourselves into trying to have some discipline. Because realistically for me, I wasn't going to go from, not that I lived a terrible lifestyle.
I love this though, Sarah. You're saying this, but we just talked about it as resolutions and goals.
To be realistic.
Them so big.
Yes.
Make them smaller and realistic so that you can actually.
And so I knew if I set that goal for myself on January 1 to do 75 Hard, I'd be gone by January 2nd. By the second time I had to walk outside and it was cold to do my workout, no fam, I'm out. Needed a blanket.
Done.
So 75 Soft is one 45-minute workout a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be outside.
Yes.
You follow a diet of your choice that you feel like you can stick to.
That's right.
Still the pages, still the water, and you can only drink on social occasions, which I feel like this podcast is very social.
Yeah.
So obviously,
very social here.
Yes, we're very social at the
Reed,
podcast. So this counts as a social occasion.
Exactly.
And we're, partway into the new year, and I've stuck to it. So I get up and do my
so
reading in the morning.
That's right. That's so good.
And I've really been enjoying it. So I feel like that probably takes the place of the meditation time, but it's still quiet time just for me.
That's right.
Gene is gone. He's at the gym. Barrett's still asleep. So I'm by myself. I've got my coffee and just for 20 minutes. So I feel like that probably has the same effects as, and I'm reading something very positive.
I was about to say, is it nonfiction? Or fiction?
It's nonfiction.
Yeah. What are you reading?
My pastor has written 3 books.
Yes.
And he wrote one on, it's called Feel Free. It's about not letting your emotions drive your life.
Oh, that's good.
Like he says that, you obviously need to put your emotions in the car.
Yeah.
They just don't need to be in the driver's seat.
That's good. Yeah. I love that.
You can't put them in the trunk and ignore them.
Ooh.
So, but you get to pick if they're in the back seat or the passenger seat or whatever.
Okay, Pastor, I'm gonna have to buy this book.
He did a sermon on it. It'll be a very short read, so I'll be able to finish it before the 75 days, and then I'm going to start on Jenna Kuchar's book that I bought us. That'll be here Tuesday.
I can't wait.
So it'll be my next one. So I think sitting there reading a self-help is a little better. It's not a little better, but it's probably the same as meditation. Yes. Maybe we'll see. But I digress. So
I think that's great though.
It's been going good though. But that was a small goal, like you said.
Yes.
And I think
that's important.
That's part of what you have to do when you start feeling burned out.
Yes.
And I think there's some confusion that you can only feel burned out at work.
Oh,
that burnout is a professional problem.
I agree. I saw that.
Right.
A lot of things out there that you read about is based on your profession.
Right.
Like in your profession, you don't get married out, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
This is what to do, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't really necessarily about home or your everyday.
It was go talk to your boss
Yes.
about things you can take off your plate or whatever.
Yes.
But I feel like especially, and I'm sure it happens to dads too. I'm not taking them out of the equation, but I think especially for moms, and that's why I think this topic is important coming off the holiday season.
Yeah, I agree.
You're probably burned out. I mean, a lot of moms, women in general.
That's right.
You know, I saw somebody posted on Instagram about, and it's gone viral. This woman posted her story about how she was not taking it anymore. She woke up Christmas morning. Every single person in her family had presents, stockings, and she had not one thing. Nobody in her family had thought to get her one thing. And that's what she said. She's like, I'm not doing it anymore. She's like, I have turned myself inside out to create this magic and create this experience for my family, and I'm an afterthought. Which has made me so sad.
But that's real.
That's why you should buy yourself something, ladies.
That's right.
Treat yourself. That's where the saying comes from. Treat yourself.
Buy your own experience.
That's right.
Girl.
Put your own Louis Vuitton under that tree.
Don't feel bad about it.
Right.
You just do it.
And then you make a big deal about how excited you are about it in front of your kids, and your husband can't tell you to send it back.
Nope.
You're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, honey. Thank you. I love it. You're so thoughtful. Blah, 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 blah. And then he can't be the bad guy and make you send it back because you gave him the credit for it.
No, that's exactly
That
right.
made me onto something.
That's right. I agree.
But, we talked about, I think last time, I wish they would do like a New Year's event for kids.
Yes.
But that was just one more thing that, something to take your kids to.
That's right.
The gingerbread house thing.
Man, when they're out of school.
Cookie decorating thing. Ooh. The Christmas parties. The kid Christmas parties. I saw so many people posting like boys class party, girl class party, co-ed class party, like all the stuff.
I see that too. That's stressful.
So I think I think that can be an area of burnout. That
100%.
You get burned out on being a mom. You get burned out on being a woman. I mean, can we just take a break and sit down for a second?
Exactly. And I think for people, I think that's where that self-care comes in, whatever that looks like for you. And it can be absolutely different from everybody. Like just reading a book to having time on your own. I think it was Jenna who was talking about having time this new year on her, like making time for herself. It's going to be, some people do, self-care a little differently. They're okay to have somebody with them and kind of get away. But for her, it was, she loves being alone to recharge by herself.
Do you like being by yourself?
Not necessarily.
I don't.
It's not my favorite.
I don't. B, do you like being by yourself? B loves being by herself.
Of course.
No.
It's so interesting how people can recharge, right? Like you and I have somewhere to go this weekend. And so I feel like that's like a recharge moment for me.
Right. Yes.
Like that will recharge me.
Yes.
I feel like, where B may need to be by herself, for a little time to do that. And I think whatever that looks like for everybody, that's okay. And it's okay if something doesn't work for you. Like, truly, like
I think people feel pressure about that too, because they think, well, okay, so I'm burned out. The internet says I need to exercise more, but I hate to exercise. So then they get stressed out about trying to exercise when that's not their thing.
No, that's not your thing.
You have to give yourself permission to find your thing. I have a friend, I do not enjoy taking baths. I don't enjoy just soaking in the tub, probably because I don't like being by myself.
Yes.
So to just sit and soak in the tub, I'm like twiddling my thumbs like, okay, can somebody come in here and talk to me? Or how long have I been in here? Or whatever.
Text somebody.
But that's a non-negotiable for her.
Yeah.
Like once a week, her husband knows the kids don't get to come in here. I mean, she's got this beautiful, like elaborate wooden thing that goes over her tub that she's got like her bath salts and a book prop and like all the things. Like, can you put a charcuterie on there? Like that, maybe I'd stay in there for charcuterie. I don't know, but
candles around. I mean, it sounds like it would look. I mean, it looks like my visual here is good, but I don't think I could do that.
But that for me wouldn't work. That would cause me more anxiety. Because I don't like to. I probably do need to be better about carving out more alone time. But in the morning I'm fine because I'm like, okay, I know I got 20 minutes, and then Gina will be walking through the door. I'll be waking up Barrett. I'll be back to interacting with people. Right.
Yeah.
But so you have to give yourself permission to find your thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't look at the top 5 things on the internet to do to, solve burnout, and then
and that be the key.
None of those things be your thing.
That's right. And I think that's what's, on social media, that's what they try to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think exercise is like one of those top ones.
It is number one.
Go exercise.
Get outside.
Okay. Well, for those of us that don't
what if
love
I got
to
bad
exercise.
Asthma? What if going outside makes me feel like I'm going to die?
Yeah. And you forget your inhaler. I mean, what does that, what happens then? I mean, like, oh my God, no, talking about stress and anxiety.
That's right.
No. I mean, so really making sure that it is something that is good for you, and whatever that is, that's okay. Netflix, Hulu, and watch your show. Watch some Yellowstone. I mean, watch Beth.
It doesn't have to be productive.
Watch Beth.
I think we get a lot. I think, when people think about self-care or self-help, they think they're doing something productive for themselves.
I read that too. Yes.
It doesn't have to be productive. It doesn't have to
be. Yes, I read
it can be watching Netflix, or
that's exactly right.
Trying to make macaroni figurines of your family. I don't know.
I have a neighbor that and I don't know if this is some of her self-care stuff, but she sews and sews so well. My mother would have.
I can't even sew on a button.
No, me either. I'm like, oh my God.
Just get rid of the shirt.
You should see some of the buttons I've tried to sew on. I mean, I thank God they are still there, but if you actually looked at it, there's all sorts of knots everywhere. It's a hot mess.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's on. I think that's the key.
That is.
But she loves to sew. So it can be things like that, knitting, sewing, whatever, writing. I do feel like
journaling was a big one.
That's right.
Yes.
I saw that. I think writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, I never wrote things down. For the longest time. Now I'm in a place in my life, I'm going to have to write things down. And I think that will help me in my goals as I move forward. That was one of the things
that I have tried to do is to-do list. So not even journaling, just writing out the to-do list.
Yes.
So that I don't get overwhelmed trying to keep up with all of it in my head. But I found it very satisfying to scratch them off.
Yes.
And what I do is I make my to-do list, scratch off what I've done, and then the next day I start a fresh one every day.
I love that.
So sometimes I have to carry things over from the day before, but that's okay. But I just start a new one every day. And that helps me at work and at home.
Yes.
And I think people also feel like you have to have a bad job to feel burned out.
Oh, no.
And that's not the case at all.
No, not at all.
Now, I think we've both been in that scenario.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
But if you have to, even in the best positions, you have to step away.
And recharge.
Yes. And I read that over 55% of Americans don't use all their vacation time.
And that's shocking
and
to
I'm
me.
guilty of that.
She is.
Because I feel like if I don't have somewhere to go, I don't take off work. And and with Gene being a small business owner, he very rarely closes. We don't go away, which we're really going to have to be better about because we're failing our 222 challenge that we're supposed to be doing.
That also still Bea is shaking her head at us.
Yes.
Shame. But just like your trip to California.
Yes.
The shop was fine.
Yes.
The shop was fine.
It was.
Things went on.
They did. The world kept spinning.
The world kept spinning.
Right.
So I think y'all should do that.
There was no global crisis because somebody couldn't get a flat tire fixed.
That's right. It's okay.
But again, I do appreciate that he feels like it's a global crisis if somebody shows up to get their flat tire fixed and he's not here. I feel like that's why we're very successful. He's been in business 13 years this week.
I saw that.
So
that's amazing.
Little shout out to my hubby. 13
anniversary.
Yes.
I love that.
Which was funny because when I was telling him, I was like, it's your 13-year anniversary for the shop. And he knows that we got married the same year the shop opened. And he was like, is this our wedding anniversary too? And I'm like, no, we would not have gotten married on the same day that you opened up the bike shop. We did make our wedding a special occasion. I was like, but
same year?
Yeah, same year, not the same day. I mean, that'd be really easy for you to have one day to keep up with, but not the same time. So
that's so funny.
So 13 years. But in 13 years, like I like to say, and he needs it because he does feel burned out.
And I can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly, he is the one here, right? So he is here every single day. And
I also read that when Americans do take vacations, we're not truly on vacation because we refuse to unplug.
100%.
And you do that because even when you're at Disney on your vacation, you're shooting texts and emails and offering to help with stuff.
Which is the one place usually that I don't do that. Right. But I did. But our job's a little different than it used to be.
Yes.
But I agree. I think that is key to truly unplugging from this.
And
from
that
your
was
phone
one of the
and social
things that I
media.
read in the article
Yeah.
was,
That's right.
and it's not even that you feel like you have to. Like in my old position, I couldn't unplug.
That's right.
I mean, there was
exactly
no
right.
backup.
No.
There was nothing. So even when you were on vacation, if the phone rang, you had to answer it.
Yes.
That's not the case really where we are now.
Right.
So I don't mind staying connected.
Yeah.
But we need
that's
to,
where I am.
you need to allow yourself to unplug and disconnect and truly
That's
be on vacation when you're on vacation. And that doesn't have to mean that you're on vacation in the Bahamas or the beach. It could mean you're on vacation to watch Netflix on your couch all day.
That's exactly right.
Don't pick up the phone.
Preach.
Don't pick up the phone.
Yes.
Allow yourself to be off.
That's right.
Even if it's a half a day. If you
That's
don't feel like
right.
you can unplug for 8 hours, just allow yourself a half a day.
That's right.
I
do. Chad's I feel bad for Chad too. He does not like to go on vacation because he's a commission-based person.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's not at working, he doesn't get paid. That's what he feels like in his brain. And again, I appreciate that he's that way, but that can take a toll on you after a while if you truly don't take time for yourself. But he is his own person, so his phone rings no matter where we are. You know what I mean? And he has to do the things. So that can be super hard. And I can imagine people like that get burnt out more quickly.
And it used to be, the good thing about it, now we're not cruiser people. We're not cruisers. But Jean's dad gave us a cruise for our anniversary several years ago.
Uh-huh.
And back then, you had no cell phone service on the cruise. This was before...
I love that.
Even before, even though there was cell phones and technology and all the things,
you could
when
not
you were out
do
to
that.
sea, you were off. Like there was no getting in contact with you. And now it's not the case.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world, the remote island, they can find you. But I remember that it was nice because you were forced to unplug. And I need to say out loud to myself and all the people, the world's not going to stop if you turn your phone off.
It's really not.
I try to think about that.
It's really not. I used to be, and I'm better, I think, than I used to be. But I used to be, if I don't respond to an email or a text within seconds, then I am not following what I'm supposed to do. And what is that?
Yes.
What does that even mean? But it's okay to let it sit for a minute.
Yes.
Do whatever the heck you're doing and finish and then answer. I feel like I'm trying to be better about that because literally if I hear a ding and I'm like, ding, let me look, let me respond. And I feel like I have to do that. But not everybody else does that.
Right.
So, again, all of that pressure and stress adds up to what you feel like is burnout.
And I try to think about this. It's funny because I think we probably don't have anybody that listens to us that doesn't know this, but we used to have a telephone attached to the wall. And I think about before I'm just going to pick up the phone and send a random text to my friend group, like, is this something I would have picked up the phone off the wall?
Yeah.
And dialed the number to call and talk to them about.
That's right. That's so true.
And it's kind of like Facebook, like nobody needs to know like what I'm eating for lunch. The things like we're such oversharers.
Yeah. That's right. It's so true. And not realistic sharers.
Right.
Like I talked about at one episode about influencers being, I like the ones that are more real.
Right.
Like when you show me your face with no makeup and your house is a mess, I feel like, okay, you're more like me.
Right.
When you show me that you're put together, you look like you're going to the prom or some gala, that you are top notch, put together every single minute of your life. To me, that's not real.
Right.
That's not real. That's not, I can't relate to you as much as I can those that truly show, you posted, I'm going to call you out. You posted a picture because you sell new skin, your before and after of your skin, and that you had no makeup on.
Yes.
It was so good.
Well, I just never thought
I know
that
it's probably because of new skin, but my point in that is that that's a being vulnerable.
It is.
It's very vulnerable.
Because I was one that wouldn't even leave the house without full face of makeup. You were not going to find me. I mean... even going down to the beach on vacation, I'd put on powder and mascara.
That's right. So I love that. And to me, that just, as stressful as it probably was, that will get easier for you. And then to me, your stress will go away about that. That will be one less thing that you stress about.
Right.
So I think it is decreasing our stress a little bit, but no matter what environment you're in. But burnout's a real thing that really people need. Whether it's a hobby, we talked about hobbies and all our text messages. And what's a hobby? I don't know. What's my hobby?
I think anything.
What is my hobby?
Our podcast is the hobby.
Thank God.
Podcasting.
I have the podcast.
Yes.
What is that?
Because before people are like, what do you do for fun?
What do you do?
What is that?
The podcast.
Yeah, before that, like,
this is what we do. I did have a friend stop me, and she was like, she was asking about the podcast. She liked the podcast, and she was like, and it was a friend I had not seen in a long time, and she was like, it just has to be fun. And I'm like, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is just fun, you know? So I think that is a way for us to recharge too.
When you were reading your stuff on burnout, did anything list what the signs were? Like, how do you know that you're approaching that?
So to me, it was a lot about anxiety, meaning your headaches, you have headaches, you're irritable, negativity, like you feel like things are negative in your life, no matter what you try to do. Insomnia, like, so
sleep. I did see some stuff about sleep.
Sweating a lot. You know, I will say the signs that I read was those that to me can be like, okay, well, I do that every day.
Right.
Well, then you have to distinguish, okay, is this something I can try to fix, right? Or is this something that maybe it is? Maybe it is your hormones. Maybe it is something that's going on differently. But I think trying those things that we've talked about, and if it helps, then there you go. It alleviates. Headaches to me these days, I have lots of headaches. Why? I don't know. You know, why is that?
Right.
How does it even?
Are you dehydrated?
Oh, yes. Probably just need a bag of fluids. Says the nurse. So you can absolutely find a list of things, but it is, when I look and read on, I'm like, okay, well, that's anxiety based.
Right.
All of the things feel like, okay, those are things that would be diagnosed as anxiety. Right. So just be mindful of that.
And I do think that whatever area it is in your life that you're feeling burned out, whether it's professionally, whether it's at home
life,
whether it's the stress of trying to keep up in your friend group, talk about it.
That is the most important thing.
Talk about it.
Communication is key with whoever it's about.
And if some people, and I know because I was in this situation, if you have a boss that if you go to them and tell them that you're feeling burned out, they're going to look at you like you have two heads. It doesn't always have to be a supervisor that you talk about it with. No. It could be your team. It could be your peers. It could be your coworkers. If it's something that, I've been picking up some of these duties for someone else, I really need to allocate those back to that individual, or I feel like this would be better suited for another department.
That's right.
Let's look at reassigning this. Exactly there's ways to talk about it without just being, I feel like I'm doing too much.
That's right. That's right.
Because I feel like the instinct of the supervisor, and this is coming from an HR person, is to always think that when you come and talk to me about being burned out, the end result is that you want more money.
That's exactly right.
But
that's exactly right.
I think to keep them from shutting down and just immediately thinking it's about that, then you approach it with, I've just been looking at some things that I've been doing.
Yes.
I'm not using my time the way that I could. I'd like to allocate some of these duties, back to this department or over to this department. And, kind of there's ways that you can approach it without it immediately seeming like I'm overworked and underpaid conversation.
Because just like you said, they're going to shut down at that money issue. Like, okay, well, that's not it.
Right.
List it out.
And then, in your marriage, if you need help with the kids.
That's right.
Gina and I had this conversation not too long ago.
Yeah.
I'm bad about this. And I say this like he doesn't not do anything. He does things. He's primarily the one that does the dishes. He loads and unloads the dishwasher.
That's good.
He does not pick his blanket off the floor and fold it and put it off the couch. I'm so sick of picking up blankets off the floor, but that's another conversation. So he does stuff around the house, for sure.
Yeah.
But in the moment when I'm doing something, I get escalated and like I do all the things. Why am I the one that does all the things?
That's right.
And him being the rational person that he is, he never gets escalated like I do. It's like, really, you do all the things? But let's sit around and let's talk about, what
that is.
What that is. What does that look like? And then when you put it on paper, it really is balanced. I just am in my head.
That's right.
And I'm ill and I didn't sleep good, or so you have to talk about it.
You do.
Instead of just exploding, because then if I would have just like an adult come to him and said, I feel like lately the balance is a little off.
That's right. Yes.
And he could say, well, you're wrong because X, Y, Z. Or he could say, you're right. I really could help with X, Y, Z.
That's exactly right.
So, but we have to talk about it, or he's never going to know until it gets to a point where I'm throwing things across the kitchen. And I feel like this in holiday season, we talked about it, say no to things.
Boundaries was another one I did.
Set some boundaries. Don't feel like you have to go to every function, show up to everything.
set some boundaries. It's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think for the longest time in my life, I was a yes girl.
Yes.
And I felt like, and I did feel like for a long time that helped me professionally.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a time where no is okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, be professional about it and kind about it
Right.
if it's not in a professional environment. But say the no and be like, I love you anyway, but I'm going to have to say no to
Right.
that.
I'm going to have to
today.
decline this dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
Or this is the only night I have to
And
myself
that's
this week.
right. Exactly
You know,
right.
it's okay to say no
Set
to
those
things.
boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boundaries are healthy.
I agree. I love that for sure.
Do you feel burned out?
No, not today. I feel
not
great.
in this section. Not in this
I
particular
feel wonderful.
moment. Yes, not in this particular
Sarah,
moment.
I feel great. What about you? Are you feel burned out?
I feel
Sarah?
great. I feel great. I tell you, I had a moment this week where I was like,
I know you had a moment.
I'm an adult. My car was clean. I had a full tank of gas. I'd gotten up 20 minutes early and had my coffee and read. I was like, you can't tell me nothing today. Like, I think I wore heels to work.
Oh
like,
my gosh, that's exactly right. I know this day.
I was feeling myself. I was like, I am winning this new year.
So guess what I'm going to do when I leave? I'm going to go clean my car.
And I can't tell the last time my car was clean and the tank of gas was full. These things do not happen simultaneously.
I was thinking yesterday, I was like, my car's so dirty. Oh my God, I got to get my car clean.
Right.
So it makes me feel better.
We had our big boss on the show a couple of episodes ago, Tracy.
Yes.
Today is her 50th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Big Boss.
We
But
love
she
you.
put in our group chat that, I'm going to go have my coffee before I realize I'm halfway to 100.
I know. It's like,
And I thought, I was like, oh man, if I'm this stressed out about being 40, how am I going to feel when I turn 50? Maybe I need to relax a second about it.
no, we're going to be on medication. It'll be fine.
Or we're going to just be wearing a lot of pashminas on the lanai
right.
at this point.
That's exactly right.
We'll be
my
embracing
God.
it. Because my
Embrace
response to her is, you're fabulous.
She's fabulous at 50.
Like, who cares about
Oh
the
my
fact that you're
gosh.
50? So then
Yeah,
why do
yeah.
I care so much that I'm 40?
Because it's you.
Because
You
it's
know,
me,
we
yeah.
think it's self, like,
Right.
We think about ourselves and we're really 40 and
Yes.
are we really this old? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. And
so
that's
again,
okay.
my word, embrace.
Embrace it.
I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to do the things,
Yeah, mine was intentional. I'm going to be
I love
intentional about trying to embrace it.
That's right. Listen, and share your words with us too.
Yes,
You
if you
know,
picked out a word of
yeah.
intent for the year, let us know what
Let
it
us
is.
know. I think that Jenna Kuchar was talking about
Yes.
hers, and so and I think hers is strong for
Yes,
2023,
yes.
and so I loved that. But yeah, share your word with us too.
And a little bit why you chose it, if you're comfortable.
That's right.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you're comfortable, for sure.
Yes. So Tracy's turning 50 and getting married this weekend.
Can you believe that?
She announced on the show that she was engaged. I don't even think
love it.
Danny's brother knew at the time
I
that
don't
they
think
were
so
getting
either.
married yet. So
That's right.
And then Karen, who came on,
Yes,
Karen, the
can
best
you
Karen
believe it?
ever, also posted on her social media that she got engaged over the
Love that for her.
holidays.
Because she talked
So-
about her boyfriend,
Yes,
right, Deering, and how
yes.
amazing he was, those sunsets and
Yes,
whatnot.
obviously you want to marry
Definitely
that
go
person.
back and listen to that episode if you've not listened. It was awesome. We always talk about the freedom
Yes.
of 40, so we reference her episode a lot. So check her out. And then I'm so excited for her getting married.
Yeah, so our guests
I
have
love
had some
it.
big
I
updates.
know. Which only means 2023 for us and Enjoy the Chaos is going to be amazing.
That's right. That's right. We can't wait to share it with you
Whoop,
guys.
whoop.
So
It's gonna be
follow us on social media,
Yeah, we have all the platforms,
all of them.
don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
We do. We don't
we
have.
don't have
We don't
Twitter.
have the Twitter.
I don't really know how to do the Twitter.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to tweet.
Bee's kind of making a face too. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how to
thank
do it
you.
either.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you,
not
Bee.
interested in that platform.
No, we're
But we have Instagram.
everything else.
We have Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook.
We don't have TikTok, but I
YouTube.
do TikTok and I do
Yes.
post all of our stuff.
Yes, so you post
So-
about us on TikTok.
Yes.
All right, Gin Drinker, what do you think about
Jen,
this?
I do like this. I'm going to give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a 4 too. I think
feels
it would be
good. It's very
great
light.
with the squeeze of lime in it.
I think so too. I love that.
I think a little lime in it would be very good.
Yes.
B, what do you think?
I give it a 5. It was really good.
Ooh, bring on the aviation.
And B really likes the other. So far, everything we've had of this
On
on
the
the
rocks.
rocks has
Yeah.
been really good.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to link them because we did on our blog
Mhm.
for On the Rocks, and so you'll be able to see what they have.
Yes.
All the good stuff.
Which is a work in progress, our website. So give us some
Please
grace. We're trying
Yeah,
to be
we're
as
gonna embrace
official as
that.
we can, but you've heard us talk. I mean,
If you've heard an episode, you know how we are.
Yes, you know how we are.
That's right.
But we hope you guys have a great week. And we'll see you next time. Enjoy the chaos.
Bye, y'all.